Engineering Week exhibitors, we want to thank you so much for being part of this journey into the new frontier of virtual exhibiting. And we really appreciate you joining us for today's webinar. A couple housekeeping things before we start. We're going to cover a lot of content today. So we made sure to have the PowerPoint available and accessible to you. You can click on your download handouts. There's two versions, it's the same, so either one will work. Grab that. You'll be on listen only mode on audio, but you can and definitely should submit questions. You do not have to wait for a Q&A period to submit your question. The minute that question flashes into your mind, look on your console. You'll see a tab that says questions. Type your question, press send, and please remember this: there is no such thing as a dumb question. This virtual exhibiting is new to almost everybody. If you have any technical issues, call GoToWebinar at 800-263-6317. And last but not least, the Informa team really cares about you. They care about your success as a virtual exhibitor, and they're going above and beyond what most shows are doing to help their exhibitors succeed by providing strategic training. They would love to get your feedback on today's webinar. So 3 to 5 minutes afterwards, you'll get an email with a link. Please be sure to give us some feedback on today's webinar. So with that, we'll get started. One moment. What's going on here with my mouse? All right, so we want to welcome you out to Virtual Engineering's Week. Optimize. I apologize, my computer is going haywire. 1 second. Where'd you go? One moment, please. We're having a technical hiccup here. Tim, if you want to do a welcome introduction, we're having a little technical issue on my end. One moment, please.
Sure. Yep. Take your time, Jefferson. Hey, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for coming. I understand that we had well over 200 people register for today. That's fantastic. I'm super happy that everybody's coming to check this out. So just to set the expectation for what today's training is versus what Monday's training is. So Monday was a walkthrough of the platform, how to use the platform, set up your booth, just get familiar with how it all works. Today is really how best practices to increase your ROI before and during the event, right? So what I would ask everybody is, if they have technical questions like, oh my gosh, how do I add a booth member, or how do I edit my photo or video, that we actually don't get into those things today. Today, let's focus on how you're gonna get the most ROI out of the event. But we have lots of resources that will help you. Jefferson, if you could go to that slide, that can help you with technical training questions relative to the platform. So there's two things. There's today's slide deck, right, that you can use. There's also, we have attached to this presentation, we have Monday's training, where you get a walkthrough of the presentation from Sarah from SwapCard, who is also on this call. We also have a link to the exhibitor service kit, which answers basically all your questions. And then finally, we have access to, on the final slide, you'll see that we have an email for our customer service. So if you have a specific question, you can't figure it out, we do that. So I'm sure there will be lots of technical questions, but what I want to do is give the 200 plus exhibitors that are on this call the opportunity to understand what we believe are best practices, so that when we get to the live event and before the live event, you're rocking it, you're getting the most leads.
All right, thank you, Tim.
Yep.
Thanks, Tim. We are back in business here, so we're going to go ahead and get this rolling. Again, as Tim mentioned, this is optimizing your virtual exhibit. We're going to cover a lot of ground here today with you. So Tim, take it away on talking about, Colleen, I'm sorry, about how attendees will find you.
Actually, Colleen will take it away.
Colleen, sorry.
Thanks, Jefferson. So I'm Colleen Sepich. Hi, everybody. So really what I'm going to be talking about today are pre-event activities in terms of teeing up your booth to make sure that you are in the best position possible to attract the most appropriate and engaged attendees for your offerings. So the swap cart platform, and as you're uploading all of your information, is not that different from what you're all used to with our live events, which is the Map Your Show platform. Consider the swap card platform to be a picture frame where you're going to be uploading and links and images and products. So what you really want to keep in mind is the company and keyword search. Make sure that you're using those keywords that you would optimally use, that if an attendee is dreaming up a product that you offer, what keywords would they look for? What would they be searching for to find you? The platform does offer a products and services page. You have the opportunity to upload your products and services to that page with images and content. The platform also has a download reports and white papers page. So depending on what package you have purchased, you will have opportunities to download a certain amount of reports and white papers, and upload them, I should say. If you have sponsored content or you're delivering content, your logo will be attached to that content, and that will link directly back to your exhibitor profile. So we're driving traffic that way. So again, thinking about the attendee journey, there are multiple doors and access points for them to find you and get to your exhibitor booth. And then in addition to that, there's AI technology that will make recommendations for the attendees based on how they are behaving on the platform. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah Martin from SwapCard. She's going to walk you through a quick demo of the user interface and how the attendees, all the various wayfindings that are available for attendees.
Thank you, Colleen. So there are three primary ways where an attendee or a prospective customer can find you. So we have the virtual booth, Meet Exhibitors, where you guys will be listed, find products and services, and download reports and white papers. In the virtual booth, Meet Exhibitors button, you will see that they can search for you by, as an example, say they're interested in a company named Informa. By searching for Informa, they will see any company that's listed as Informa. They can also search by type and product offered. So just note that they can use multiple filters and multiple ways to find you. The other way is through find products and services. Similar to virtual booths and Meet Exhibitors, they are also able to search for specific products that they are interested in. So it's really important that when you are uploading your products and services, that you are tagging them, that using one of the values that provided in the provided areas of interest that provided to you. So make sure you take advantage of that. The third way is download reports and white papers. Once again, the attendees, your prospective customers, they can search for different areas of interest here, and they can choose multiple ones. So once again, as you're uploading your white papers, your reports, make sure you tag them and add your URL. So as an example here, avoid pitfalls. See how they've added the URL? This will allow the attendees to click on the URL and download it and use it for future references. So those are the three main ways for their prospective customers to find you. Over to you, Jefferson. Oh, Jefferson, you're muted.
And just next slide, Jefferson, please.
All right, thank you.
So as you're setting up your exhibitor profile, you really want to, again, keep considering the keywords. How are people thinking of you and thinking of your products, and how would they go about searching for you? As we've said, there are a range of exhibitor profiles available from bronze, silver, gold, up to platinum, and each comes with a certain number of options available in terms of product categories, products to list, and documents and white papers and reports to upload. So this is basically a list of keyword tags. You want to make sure you select and align with your product categories. You want to make sure you've included your social media tags, a company description. All of this is very prescriptive on the event platform and in the user interface. I do want to touch briefly on the document uploads information. The good news is we have learned as we've gone through this journey, this is our first time with SwapCard. You have, depending on the package that you've purchased, you have 3 reports or white papers with bronze, up to 5 for silver, 10 for gold, 15 for platinum. Those you would upload the URL, you can upload an image that accompanies that, but keep in mind the documents that you would load and upload the links into your exhibitor profile, you have an unlimited number of documents in there. You don't need to worry about the document file size because it's a link, it's not actually housed on the SwapCard platform, so you have a lot of freedom there to make sure that you are uploading as much product information as you feel is appropriate to for the audience that we're serving with the event. The last thing that you want to keep in mind is that you want to register all your booth staff before the event, get them uploaded into SwapCard, make sure that they have populated their profiles so that as they're engaging with the audience, they're easy to find and that they're easy in a relevant way. Lastly, I think the key thing to keep in mind when you're building out your profile is that the more robust your profile is, the more interaction you're going to get. So please make sure that you're taking advantage of every option available to you based on the package that you purchased. Can you go to the next slide, Jefferson? Thank you. So in terms of wrapping up the pre-show best show practices, on November 16th, the event platform does go live for the attendees. At that point in time, your staff will be able to access the attendee list. They will be able to begin engagement with attendees, inviting them to meetings and inviting them to connect. You really want to use the platform to filter and search for the most appropriate attendees, and the platform does allow for, again, a myriad of ways of connecting. You want to make sure you extend those invites. And then also, keeping in mind that AI technology will also suggest additional attendees to you based on who you've already connected with. Next slide, please. So a lot of you may already be familiar with Feather. Your logistics contacts at your organizations for this event will have received an email from Feather, I believe this week. If not, let us know. But Feather is a third-party organization that we work with, and they create graphical assets that you can attach to your emails. You can create banners. You can attach the show branded assets to your social media posts. And you should be utilizing these assets. You can push them directly from your Feather dashboard, but by all means, you should be utilizing these assets to promote your presence at the event and drive engagement through your database. We're working very hard on our end to market the event to our database and through our social media touch points, as well as through our media outlets. But again, it takes 6 to 8 touch points for somebody to really start resonating. So the more information they're seeing, the more they're relating that you are going to be attending this event, the more traction you will get actually at the event. Can you click through to the next slide, please? So again, just to reiterate, share your unique Feather landing page link. You can utilize those banners, really take advantage of the assets. They are very professional and very visually grabbing to the eye. So just make sure that you're maximizing your investment. Again, this is another opportunity that is yours to take, and we just want to make sure that you're taking advantage of all of the benefits that you get as an exhibitor. Next slide, please. So last, a number of our exhibitors are participating in thought leadership and demonstrating their expertise at the event through a sponsored presentation. Some quick recommendations: if you are coming up or struggling with a presentation title, please note that numbered lists are very effective. 3 reasons why you should XYZ. Also, anything that solves a problem that's keeping your audience or your customers awake at night. They really want to hear about those solutions. What they really aren't looking for necessarily is a product demonstration or sales pitch. They know they can get that in your booth from one of your salespeople, and that's why they're going to your booth to have those discussions. But a great way to get traction with them through thought leadership is by teaching them something. And that can be, coming up with that content and crystallizing the idea can be a challenge. So, recommendations are come up with a single message. What is the big idea? I think this is the hardest part of coming up with your content. And then once you've determined what that big idea is, you can build your presentation around that by developing and delivering a case story, telling a study, or just even simply having an expert panel where they can really drive the content for you. That actually ends up being a very easy lift. So with that being said, that's the laundry list of our recommendations for making sure that your exhibitor profile is well populated so that you are teed up to drive the most engagement. With that, I'm going to turn the stage over to Tim Simone, who has a number of top tips for how to maximize your experience during the event. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Colleen. Hey, everybody. So I think this is to me, this is like one of the most important slides in the deck. And I just think it's important to sort of reiterate that a critical thing to keep in mind is that making virtual event connections is very, very different than making connections at a physical event, right? So the opportunity for an attendee finding a booth as he or she walks up a physical aisle is replaced by a more targeted approach based on need and behavior. So what does that mean? For the attendee, this means instead of walking up the aisles, they leverage the platform to search for online things like content, exhibitors, products, networking opportunities. Additionally, the platform AI serves up recommended contacts for them to reach out to. So it's a very different experience for the attendee. Same for the exhibitor, different. A virtual event on the right platform like SwapCard is a game changer. Why? Exhibitors are not restricted by the boundaries of their booth. I'll say it again, you're not restricted by the boundaries of your booth. What does this mean? It means virtual exhibitors can reach out beyond your booth to target attendees based on things like demographics, industry alignment, company names, and location. So additionally, exhibitors are also provided recommended attendee contacts. Again, this is done through via the platform AI, which matches attendee behavior and demographics with those of the exhibitors. So best practice is for exhibitors to reach out to attendees. Very different than a live physical event. You can't float above a live physical event and laser focus all around the event to particular targeted attendees. You can do that on a platform like SwapCard. So I just really want to drive that point home. And to make it even more real, we're running an event right now, frankly, this week on the Battery Show. And it's absolutely clear that those exhibitors that are reaching out and making connections and setting invites are by far outperforming, getting more leads than those that are not, than those that are passively waiting for people to come into their booth and connect with them. So reach out. How do you do that? I'm going to pass it to Sarah to show you how you make that all happen.
Thank you, Tim. So I'm going to show you a couple of ways where you can find prospective customers and how you can connect with them. There we go. Okay, so like Tim said, it's really important to engage and connect with prospective customers. And here's a couple of ways to do that. If you go to networking and meetings, you'll be able to see all the people, attendees that are attending the event. And from here, you will see that we have AI matches. The more you engage with people, the more sessions you attend and so forth, the AI matches are going to get better and better. So it's important for you to keep coming back to this tab, networking and meetings, and find prospective customers. So how do you find someone that you're interested in engaging with? You can use the search field. Say, as an example, you know which company you're interested in or a specific skill set. So if you use the search bar here, you can refine the list. You can also filter by country, state, province, event interest, and so forth. And once again, similar to the exhibitor page, you can actually use multiple filters to very refine your results. As an example here, I'm gonna click on Jenny here because I'm interested in meeting with her. From here on, I can see I'm already connected with her. I can send her a message. I can also schedule a time where I want to meet with her. After I met with her or I just have had a conversation with her, I can score her from 1 to 5. I can also add a tag. As an example, say that Jenny works for sales and I want to connect with her after the show is completed. So I would add the tag sales here. I can also add notes, and it's also important, also good to know that just because you're given a score, you can always adjust it at a later time. So that is how you would score someone. To request a meeting, click on a time that works for you. Choose a place you want to meet. Send herself an introduction. Send a meeting request. Likewise, other people can set up meetings and send requests to you. You will find these under My Event. So by clicking on My Event, you'll be able to see the meetings that are pending. As you can see, I have toggled on display empty slots. So by toggling that off, we'll give you a quick view of the meeting request you've sent and the inbound meeting request that comes from people. So in this case, John Walton has requested to meet with me. From here, I can confirm, decline, and I can also send her a message. So this is really good. And you can also see my networking. So you can see the people that you have sent a request to or the people that are pending or confirmed. And all of this is available under My Event. But as a reminder, please make sure you come back to networking and meetings to find prospective customers to engage with. Over to you, Tim.
Okay, great. Jefferson, could you go back to the slide, please?
All right, Sarah.
Next slide, the one we were actually on. There's a couple other quick things on that. Yeah, so just a reminder, obviously, to populate your booth profile with everything that you can, take full advantage of it. We're actually seeing that the primary ways that people actually are arriving at booths are through a couple of things, the Meet the Exhibitor tabs, but also through the products. That is a huge driver. So if you've got 3 products or 5 products, make sure that you load up your products. Give yourself more opportunity to be found. The other thing that you can do is offer prizes and incentives. $5 Starbucks card, whatever it is that you want to do, right? There's a link in this, so you can click on that, and that will show you how you actually submit the prizes. Just to be clear, the fulfillment and the running of that is all up to you. You guys handle it, you do everything. You just send us a note, and what we do is we add your prize, and we have a separate button for prizes and incentives. And if you're offering one, then if someone clicks on it, they'll be taken to your booth, and that's where you explain to the attendee, here's what we're doing, here's our prize, here's how you qualify to do this or that. I will also say that through the experience of our battery event that we're running this week, that this is a very popular booth, right? So we set it up as a booth, right? But it's a very popular section of the site. So if you want to offer a little something to give that extra incentive for somebody to get there, this is how you do it. Download the slide. Download the slide deck, click on here, and then you'll be ready to do it. And then I would also recommend that you have a plan for how you will handle inbound meetings and chat requests, right? So in that, you can actually filter those out that come in. You can assign them to people, but talk with your team and make sure that everybody's kind of coordinated. Okay, so let's go to the next slide, Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this slide. It's basic block and tackling that all of you do during a live physical event, right? But this is a virtual event, so I thought it would be good just to flag. Just remember, everybody, the hours for attendee exhibitor interaction are between 9 and 3 p.m. every day. So best practice is to build out a schedule, right? I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but it's just a reminder. Ideally, have a few folks identified as backup in case you're engaged. And other connection requests are coming through. So just build yourself in some flexibility so everybody's on the same page. Your team should all be reaching out and making connections with attendees. Colleen talked about how you can do that before. I believe that starts on November 16th. You should be actually going into the platform, not just on November 16th, because people register as we roll up to the event in December, but keep going in there and checking and finding and inviting people to connect with you. Keep in mind that attendees will be coming and going regularly. So again, be proactive during the live event about reaching out. This is critical. Now, what if something pulls you away from the platform, right? We all have our day jobs. What if my boss emails me something? I've got to respond to him or her. So on SwapCard, booth staff can log in from multiple devices. So if you have to respond to an email or take an urgent meeting or life pulls you away from your computer screen for a minute, or you've got to put the platform in the background, have another device open so that you can actually see there will be an alert that comes in if somebody wants to connect with you or accepts a meeting or wants to chat with you. This is really important because if you don't do that, if an attendee sends you a request to connect and you're the one that's on in the booth, it will show that you're on in the booth. And if you don't respond to that individual and it takes 20 minutes, 2 hours, it's not going to leave your prospective customer with a good feeling, right? So just load it up on your phone too. Make sure that's sitting next to you. You can always kind of peek over it. If you've got an alert, then you can respond to the alert if you've got to be pulled away from your platform, okay? So that's a really good tip for everybody. The other thing I want to mention here is lead scoring. Sarah mentioned it a little bit before. It's a really good best practice is in real time, there's a 1 through 5 star lead scoring system, right? So 1 being the best, 5 being the best, 1 being sort of like eh. Make sure that everybody on your team that's going to be interacting and doing and making connections is scoring in real time so that after the event, the next day, the next weeks, you really know where to focus your follow-up, okay? So Jefferson, if we could go to the next slide. All right, so this is reporting. What are you gonna get and when? So there's reporting and leads that you see on site, and there's reporting and leads that you see post-event, okay? So on site, in your booth, there's gonna be an area where you can see your booth metrics or statistics. That's gonna show you the number, not the actual person, but the number of people that came into your booth, the number of people that bookmarked you, the meeting requests that you have accepted, things like that. Right? You're gonna see that in real time during the live virtual event. The contact information, the leads that you're gonna get are gonna happen from making connections during the event. So I keep coming back to making connections and how important that is. Making connections is what gives you an actual name during the event. A connection is one of 2 things. Either you invited somebody to connect and they accepted, that's a connection, or you invited somebody to meet and they accepted, that's a connection. Same thing can happen in reverse. An attendee can connect with you or invite you to meet. That's what you're gonna see during the live event, okay? You'll see the numbers of the people that enter your booth or bookmarked you or viewed a product, but you won't see the individual unless a connection is made. Post-event, right? About a week post-event, what you'll get is all of the information. You'll get the leads for anybody that visited your booth, right? So that also bookmark a product. Or bookmark your booth. Okay, so those are the leads that are going to come through you. So what's a lead? A lead is the name, company, title, location, email address, and if they've put it into the registration, their phone number. That's not required. You're going to get all the product metrics. So if someone downloads or views your products, you're going to get all the leads from anybody that engaged with their product. Take advantage of your products. If you get 3, put 3 up there if you can. If you've purchased an ad, on the platform, you'll get anybody that clicks on that ad. If you are sponsoring a session, anybody that attended that session, you'll get those people post-event. And then documents, so things like white papers, brochures, press releases, anybody that interacted with those things. So booth metrics, products, ad clicks, sessions if you're sponsoring them, and document metrics. You're getting all of that post-event. Again, that will go out about a week after the event. So I think we can go to the next slide.
All right, Tim, we are at the Q&A period and we've got a lot of questions in. What I'll try to do is essentially send them to voice them. I think the best way would be to do it verbally and then have whoever we feel should answer. Some of these will be right out of the gate for Sarah. These would be swap card technical questions. So Sarah, does the do exhibitors have a URL directly to their booth? Could they put that in like an email or a social media post that would have an attendee go straight to their booths?
Thank you, Jefferson, for that question. So yes, we do have, each exhibitor have their own unique URL. And if you would let me, I can share my screen if that's easier for you, and I can share where that is. It is important to know that the exhibitor booth is gated behind the event platform. So in order to view the exhibitor booth, you do need to be logged in into SwapCard. So it's not public knowledge, it's just that you need to, someone clicks on that link, they need to be logged into, they need to be logged in or have access to the event via SwapCard. So I wouldn't recommend posting it on your social media in the event. The attendees are not members of, not attending the event, so to speak. If you are interested to know where your URL is, just click on virtual booths here. Click on your company profile, and this up here in the URL up here, this is your personalized link. But as I said, it's really important that when a person clicks on this link, they need to be logged in and they need to have access to the event within SwapCard.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Sarah. I think the next question is in your wheelhouse also. So when people visit our virtual booth, do we get some form of a notification that they have visited our booth, and can we tell what they've done? For example, if they've looked at a document or if they've clicked on a URL. So do we get notification, one, and can we tell what they've done too?
I'll handle that, Jefferson, if you don't mind. So during the live event, you will not get a notification for anybody that goes into your booth, interacts with a product, visits a session, bookmarks your booth. You won't get those. You'll get those post-event, right? You will get anybody that you connect with, that you invite to meet and connect, and they connect with you back, or that you invite to meet and they agree to meet, or the reverse of that. So I think that's a really important thing, right? So why do we actually do that? So why don't we do that, right? So I will say that, why do we have it set up this way? Many of the platform vendors we have talked to, and we work with a lot, especially as Informa, including SwapCard, which we're using for this event, as well as many event organizers view this approach as a best practice. Why? Really for two reasons. The primary reason is because it allows both the attendee and the exhibitor to focus on the most engaged and highest quality interactions. It's kind of like working smarter, not harder during the event, right? And unlike many platforms that show you everybody who's in a booth, SwapCard allows you to go outside of your booth and interact with attendees. That's where the real value is: quality, high quality interactions, right? The other reason that this is sort of a downside, showing everybody that's in a booth, and we actually saw this on one of our events that we did earlier, is we found that if you show every booth contact if you show everybody that's in a booth, we actually saw a competitor sitting in there, squatting in somebody's booth and poaching leads away from paying customers. You don't want to see that happen. But I will say, don't forget, after the event, you get all that metrics. You will have all the time in the world to follow up with anybody that came into your booth, anybody that bookmarked your booth, anybody that viewed a product that you had, clicked on an ad. If you sponsored a session, you get all of that detailed information and how you got it. So we will say, so-and-so was in your booth, so-and-so clicked bookmark your product. You're not just going to get a bunch of leads. It's going to show you how that lead came through.
Okay, thank you, Tim. A follow-up question that's kind of in the same vein. So if a visitor visits my booth and they click on a staff profile, is there some form of a trigger, or is there notification that someone clicked on a staff profile as versus a document or video?
If they just clicked on a profile, you won't see anything, but generally if they're that interested, they would probably want to connect with that person, and you will get that information. Really, it's quite simple. It's when connections are made, that's what you will see during the event. So if you connect with somebody and they accept, or you actually meet with somebody and the meeting has been accepted, now you will have that person's contact information, and that's what you want to lead score with them.
So your main point here is connections and meetings. These are the two things the exhibitors really need to be driving for. Connect with people and try to get meetings.
Right, so that's what, right, absolutely. The platform's going to bring a lot of leads in, and you're going to see a ton of leads after the event. It's during the event and before the event that you want to drive connections and meetings. That's what you're going to see, and that's how you keep yourself busy during the live event. Sarah, you wanted to add something? I think I saw your hand go up, but maybe I was just.
Oh, no, I was just going to
Okay.
say, so to Tim's point, while we can see who has viewed your profile in real time, when someone is engaging with you, someone sending you a meeting request or connection request, you are going to get notified via the notification system. As you can see here, I don't know if you can see my screen, if you're not just on phone, I'm showing you the different notification I've received. As an example, I got a notification saying that John wants to meet with me. And I also have, so I have all my meeting requests here. And as you scroll down, you will have a lot of declined or just people trying to connect with you. So you are going to get a notification attached to your personal profile, which is not that different from an actual on-site when someone is meeting with you. And if they're willing to give you a business card, then you know you can take that meeting to the next step and actually follow up on the conversation. Additionally, I just wanted to confirm that you are able to share your connections with your team members. So as you are making connection requests and as you are, broadening your network within the event, your team members can also benefit from that. And also same thing with the meeting requests that have been made for your booth. So just wanted to add those two pieces, Tim.
Yeah, and what you will see is a dashboard. We've talked a little bit about it, but you will have a statistics and metrics dashboard, which will show you numbers. So you'll see things like the number of people that were in your booth. It's just you'll get people's contact information post-event unless they connect with you, then you'll have it.
Okay, thank you, Tim. We've got a question. It sounds technical, Sarah. They're saying they do not have the networking and meeting tabs showing on their portal. That sounds like it's a pretty technical question, no?
That's because the platform goes live for networking and meeting on Monday, the 16th.
Thank you, Colleen. That helps a lot. What about filters? When we're doing our search filters, can they be saved, or do we need to update those for each search?
You would need to update those for each search.
Excellent. Thank you.
I would add to that this is just a reminder, I think I said it earlier, but because attendees are coming and going throughout the event, right, just like at a physical event, you should be doing if you set up 2 or 3 filters because you think those will end up being the right types of attendees for you to connect with, do those frequently. There's no harm in it, right? Because you'll see who's live on the platform, but that's going to be different on Monday than it is on Wednesday at 2 o'clock. So continually check those things.
Okay, I'm not sure, Sarah, you might understand this question better than me. What's the difference between a document and a product versus a report?
So what that is like where we're uploading it in the exhibitor booth. So for here, we decided to highlight all the reports and white papers. In the exhibitor booth, you'll be able to upload your various product, white papers, and documents in different parts of your different parts of your booth. And depending on where you upload them, they're going to be displayed in a different manner. So as an example, I'm going to open up then for my sales booth here. You'll see that we can add products in one space, documents in another, and then the white papers in the third. The reason why, and Colleen can maybe speak more to this, the reason why we're adding white papers as a specific one is that we wanted it to be focused on just the white papers and the market and the material. So as you can see here, if I click on products and services, I'll be able to add, sorry, I'm still scrolling a little bit. I'll be able to add my items there. And the item is different than a white paper because an item is actually, a product with an image that you're uploading. The white paper is similar to that, but it's a it's a document, and you add a link to it so the attendees can go download that specific documents. Those are the big difference between those two. And Colleen, maybe you can.
Yeah, I just want to add that when you're thinking about which pieces of collateral will qualify as a report and white paper versus which pieces of collateral you want to qualify as a document, keep in mind that the white papers and reports are those documents or pieces of collateral or brochures that you have a finite number allotted to you based on your exhibitor package. So those are the ones that you really want to give, like what are your premier pieces of collateral that you want to upload on that would be found under that major heading on the event platform. Documents, you have an unlimited number of those. They are searchable also, but really the attendee needs to be within your booth to find those. So that's how I would categorize that. With the products and services, similarly, you do have a finite number of products and services depending on the booth that you bought. You can attach images to that. Keeping in mind, some of our exhibitors say, well, you know what, I have certain products, but we're really service oriented, or we just opened a new manufacturing facility that we really want to promote that now we can manufacture in the state of New Hampshire. You can add like a picture of your building. I do want to actually clarify also that within the documents are listed within your exhibitor profile. So they're not indexed the way the reports and white papers are. That's another differentiator to think about when you're determining what goes where.
Okay, thank you, Colleen. The next question, we've got multiples on. Can you please clarify the show hours of the virtual, first the show hours, and then what hours of the virtual booth are available for staff to conduct meetings?
Colleen, you want to take that one?
Well, so the show is scheduled to take place Pacific Standard Time between the hours of 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. So if you're, the other key thing to note is as you register, you will be asked your time zones. So the platform does correct for where you are, much like Outlook does. So just keep that in mind. You can, yeah, somebody's IMing me. Meetings are 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So just keep in mind as you are reaching out to audience and attendees, and they're reaching out to you, that those are the standard office hours for the event.
Okay, Colleen, two questions with regard to meetings. First, can multiple meetings be set up in the booth at the same time? And can they be unique or confidential? So I guess they're saying multiple meetings, different people having different meetings.
So I'd like to pass that to Sarah.
One meeting per time slot.
But you should also notice that that's by contact, correct, Sarah? So you could have 4 people in your booth staff that will all have their own individual times that they can meet. It's not as if you can only have one meeting at 10:20. You have 4 people in your booth staff, and you've got 4 slots open at 10:20. Each individual can have a meeting at 10:20. Is that correct, Sarah?
So there's 2 ways to think about this. The first one is a meeting request that happens between a prospective customer and the individual person. As an example, if I go to my event here, you will see that I have a meeting request pending with Jenny. Jenny is also, so I requested a meeting directly with Jenny, and so that would be a meeting slot between me and Jenny. If I would go to a booth, an exhibitor booth, and request a meeting with an actual booth, then that booth would need to assign a person to that meeting. So it depends if the customer is requesting a meeting with an individual or if they are requesting a meeting with a booth. If they are requesting a meeting with a booth and Jenny, one of the team members, is actually already preoccupied having another meeting with me over here, then you would not be able to assign her to that meeting, but you can assign anyone else of your team members that are available at that time. It's also important to know that the individual can manage their own schedule. So as an example, like Tim said before, we all have a life, and for some reason you need to step away, you need to deal with something, another meeting or so forth. Under your agenda, my event, you can manage your own availability, say that I am not available to meet at this specific time. And that will tell you your team members when they're trying to assign you a meeting that you are not available at that time. I hope that clarifies the question.
Okay, thanks, Sarah. A follow-up on meetings. Is there a way to integrate scheduled meetings with Outlook?
Yes, so you can actually export your calendar here. And what that will do is it will download an ICS file that you can then upload to your Outlook calendar.
Excellent, thank you. So one of the problems with the real world trade shows is people coming into our booths trying to sell us stuff. Is there some way to identify or a reporting mechanism for non-exhibitors trying to sell us stuff?
Right now, I don't believe that we have different access for the attendees that have come in. I will say that we do review the attendees in the pre-registered file, and those that we deem of value, we block them, right? So you'll never get, there will be some that will get by the goalie. I would not be surprised, just like at a physical event, that some people might come up to your booth and try to sell you something. But we do review and have reviewed the pre-reg, and we'll continue to do that. We can block those that we feel like are of no value to you.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Sarah, an exhibitor is saying the schedule availability under my meetings is showing 11 to 4:40. How do I adjust my meeting schedule availability time?
So great question. So under my meetings here, so you go to my event on the homepage, from my event over here, you click on my meetings. And from here, you'll be able to see the different time slots where we have the meetings can happen. So you can make yourself unavailable all day, or you can make yourself unavailable for a specific time slot. As an example, this meeting slot is for November 30th at 9 a.m. And please note that it's saying 9 a.m. because I'm in Pacific time. So if you are in New York, you would say noon, you said 12 p.m. So it's really important to know that the computer will sniff out where you are and will convert the time zone. So if you want to make yourself unavailable, all you do is click on make unavailable, and that will take care of it. Now, when people are going to your profile and want to book a meeting with you, this slot, 9 a.m. to 9:20, is no longer available.
Okay, thanks, Sarah. Is there an app for smartphones where we can download and run the virtual event off smartphones?
Yes, so the event itself will be available on on iPhone devices, iOS devices, and also Android devices.
Okay, and would they go to the app store?
It's not quite loaded up on the App Store. Is that correct, Sarah? Or at least it wasn't yesterday, but it will be.
We should have it. I will have another update for you guys later on today. I believe it was I will have another update whether or not it's been approved. But the event organizers will send out an email notifying people when that is happening, I believe.
Okay, Tim, or maybe Tim, how do we get access to Feather?
I'll let Colleen do that. She's the Feather Pro.
Okay. Sorry, Colleen.
You will get an email from Feather, and it's FEATHR. It comes directly from them versus from us.
All right, thank you, Colleen. So Tim, talking about metrics, I think this might be in your wheelhouse. You say that the post-event metrics will go out a week after the event. So does that mean we cannot download this information, or you have to email this information to the company event manager?
I believe, Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong, or I don't know if Dawn is on, but she's probably not a panelist. I believe we are emailing that out about a week after the event. Sarah, is that correct? So it's not something you go into your profile and download. We actually pull that and send that. Is that correct?
The analytics, is that what I heard?
The leads.
Yes.
The contact information.
Yes, I don't know the time frame. The event organizers would be able to provide the specific time frame.
Yeah, we're saying about a week based on what we're doing with other ones. But what the question is that is not something they can pull from their dashboard or from their profile. We are sending that, correct?
Yes. So what they can download themselves is the shared contacts
Mhm.
and both of those reports. And we went into this a little bit on our call on Monday. So where you would grab that is you would just export it from your booth. And the way to do that, I will happy to show you that once the page loads, is under shared contacts. There will be a download feature and you can download all the shared contacts. Now, the caveat of that is if one of your team members is not willing to share their contacts, then they would not be included in that.
So
But if
while
you go-
Sarah's doing that, I'll just remind everybody, so that which we're talking about two things. So anybody that connected with you during the event, yes, you can download that. But I think what Jefferson was referring to is post-event, what you're getting is the people that visited your booth. That's not technically what we're calling a connection. People that bookmarked your booth, people that viewed a product profile, that attended your session, that clicked on an ad. That's all the leads, contact information that you're going to get post-event. Sarah's showing you if you've made a connection, had a meeting, this is how you can pull that information from SwapCard Direct.
Exactly. Yes, Tim, that's exactly what it is. So if you want to export the connections that you made across the event, this way you would do it. And same thing with meetings. If you want to download all the meeting information that has occurred during the event, you would also export your meetings from meetings, export meetings, and you would have all this information here.
I'd like to jump in quickly and add, I got some further clarification on the Feather notifications. A Feather email did go out to exhibitors that were signed on prior to November 2nd. An email went out on November 2nd. It came from Feather and was on behalf of Virtual Engineering Week. And a reminder email is going out to all exhibitors tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Colleen. Let's take a look. So here's a question. We're a silver sponsor or exhibitor, and we were able to upload 15 products and an ad. Will the ad in 7 of the products get deleted?
Good question. That's an operations question. I don't know. The answer is probably.
Probably, yeah. So some of these questions, by the way, everybody on board, if we don't or can't answer your question because it's of a very one-to-one or specific nature, we have an electronic list of the questions, and we'll follow up after the event for any questions that are kind of beyond the scope of what we're talking about here today.
If you've overserved your profile, client services will reach out.
Okay, that makes sense. Sarah, this one may be in yours. The exhibitor says my URL starts with app.swapcard.com and doesn't have my company name in it. Why is that?
So the URL is, it's not a personalized URL for all the exhibitors. As you can see here, it's just a string of characters. So there are, is that the question for the exhibitor group? Yeah. So unfortunately, we don't have what the industry refers to friendly URLs for the exhibitors in that capacity. If you were curious about if you wanted to somehow, if you needed to share your exhibitor booth URL, you would have to go there and grab it from the navigation from here, URL. Just as a reminder, if you share that button, that URL, if someone is not logged in to SwapCard, into the event within SwapCard, they would not be able to use it. They will get an error message. It is a gated community. It's protecting gated community. So just something to be aware of.
Okay, Sarah, this technical question. For reports and white papers, the only thing the platform allows us to upload are images along with the title and description. How do I link the image description to the actual PDF or the white paper?
So when there's also a URL option in there. So if you click on, as an example, I will go back here to the Informa Sales booth. When you upload the product, below there will be a section called URL, and that is where you would link your product to. So it'll be here. once that load, I will show you in person. So yeah, so you would upload the image and then you would give it a description, a title and description. And from there, below there will be a section called URL, and that is where you would enter the URL. So in this case, if my computer could load, I will show you. So you click on the edit button if you already uploaded your product. If you haven't, you would add it. Okay, so as you see here, I uploaded a white paper on batteries. I gave it a description, areas of interest, and then below here, under the URL, this is where I entered the URL. Okay, the same thing if I add a new product. I would have to first give it a category. And it's good to know that you can always update these descriptions and names and the category after you've created them in case you change your mind or it was incorrect. So product category is false. I won't be able to do that, but so that is how it would work.
So I know we're getting close to the end of the hour. I just want to remind everybody that I don't know if I said it in the meeting, but I would recommend, highly recommend, that everybody have a meeting with their teams that are going to be working in the booths and supporting the booths around things like setting meetings and when you're going to do that and how you can do that. And we are all certainly available to help you do that. But I do think, you know, setting the meetings, getting your profile set up, taking advantage of things like Feather, that's really going to increase your value. So I can't say it enough. If you've got a strategy around it, I've seen it on the battery event this week, those individuals, those people are getting much more engagement.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Like you said, we only have about a minute to go, and any questions that were submitted that were not answered will be followed up directly. But Tim, two quick questions about meetings. So can two attendees attend a meeting together from different locations or devices?
I'm going to ask Sarah for that. I'm actually not sure. Sarah, do you know if you mean can attendee to attendee meetings happen? Is that the question? The answer is yes. But are you saying can multiple people say meet with me at the same time? Can you have more than?
Yeah, it
so Sarah,
sounds
can
like
you have more than one-to-one meeting?
Yeah.
There is, so the meetings are one-on-one, so between one exhibitor and one attendee. There is a workaround where you could, if an attendee has sent you a message, you could, if you have access to the shared inbox, you could call them up together, meaning that you could have multiple of your team members calling to the same attendee. The only caveat of that is that you would have to use the shared inbox in this case, and I apologize for all my shared inboxes that I have right now. As an example, here I would be able to click on if Dino has a question, and I'm in my shared inbox with my other fellow team members, I could call Dino from here, and my second team member could go into the same to a shared inbox into the same meeting and also initiate call from there. As I said, that's the work around it. It's a little bit more, it's a little bit trickier. So in terms of the meeting, setting a meeting and creating a meeting, then that would only be between one attendee and one exhibitor, or one exhibitor and one attendee. But if needed, this would be the work around it. So as I said, it's not something I recommend necessarily, but that is the work around it.
Okay, thanks, Sarah. One final question on meetings, and we'll wind up. Can my booth staff see each other's meeting requests or meetings in progress? And can I join a meeting that one of my teammates is hosting?
So a couple of things here. So you can see the meetings that have been requested to the exhibitor booth, to your individual booth. In this case, We've had, if you go into the Informa sales booth here, you'll see we have all these invitations. So these meetings will be, if the attendee, the potential customer, requests a meeting with your exhibitor booth, then they will be listed under meetings. If it's a meeting between me and Colleen as individuals, they would not be displayed there. Like you have to, the request has to come into the booth for the rest of the team members to see it. The rationale behind that is that you can manage, you need to assign it to someone of your team members, right? You need to assign it, who of your team members is available or should take this meeting. So that is why you can see those.
All right, thank you, Sarah.
Sarah, quickly, and I know we're over time, but just to clarify, I have seen on other SwapCard events where team members, within an exhibitor booth are all connected to each other, and that allows them to see who their colleagues are connected to. So do you recommend that as a best practice?
The team's contact, the shared contacts, absolutely.
Or that they connect with each other?
I beg your pardon,
Or that team members connect with each other within the platform?
I mean, I think it will help with AI because I would connect among my team members because you want to, yeah, I think that would make sense, right? It would help with AI because if you are a prospective customer and you connect with me, Sarah, and I'm part of the Informa sales booth, then because I'm already connected with Tim, who's my colleague, right? Then you're more likely to get the recommendation to connect with Tim as well because we have something in common. So I will definitely recommend that you do that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Sarah. So I want to thank everyone for attending. This is going to wind down our webinar. I want to start with Tim. Tim, what are your closing thoughts, comments? What do you want exhibitors to walk away to know?
Set meetings, make connections before the event, starting on November 16th, and during the event. I can't say it enough. You're probably all sick of hearing it, but really, that's what I have to say.
Yeah. Colleen, what would you share as their big takeaways for virtual exhibitors?
I mean, I have to reiterate what Tim just said, but also, just again, and I think our exhibitors are very good at doing this, but just make sure that you're taking advantage of everything that's on the menu available to you, all the marketing opportunities, the pre-event marketing, as well as the, many ways that you can show off your company and offerings on the platform.
All right, thank you, Colleen. And my closing comments are virtual exhibits are a great opportunity if you do them right. I echo what Tim and Colleen said. Try to win the game before kickoff by getting connected and as many meetings as you can line up. Make sure that your virtual exhibit, all of your digital assets are optimized, any videos you're going to run, and make sure your staff is fully prepared and functional on how to use the core components. So Sarah, from SwapCard, any closing thoughts or comments for our exhibitors?
I think it's all been said, Jefferson. I will just say, if you're going to hand someone a business card at an on-site, an actual physical on-site, treat the connection request the same way. If you want to connect with people, that's the best way to do it. And you're going to get better ROI from it anyway, because you can download them.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for your time, the Informa team, SwapCard team, and all of you exhibitors who logged in. It's a work in progress. We're continuing to learn. We're continuing to grow. This webinar was recorded and will be available for replay along with the training that was done. And I encourage you to review both. Any questions that came in that were not answered will be followed up directly. And watch your email for the post-webinar survey. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you as exhibitors, and we look forward to having a world-class virtual engineering virtual event. Thanks for logging in, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.